guys, you know, they're perfect, wonderful guys. One of the problems we're having with the IT guys is burnout, workload. They work on their own, they do gig a lot, but they have burnout. Why? The reason is they take from you, they take from you, they take from you, they have 10 jobs going on, and they're all deadlines. And then struggling, they'll tell you, some tech guys don't sleep. I've not slept, I'm having, yeah, because what they need to meet up, they have high standard out there. And another thing, forgive me to say, some of them possibly do not know this too well. They're also still learning errors here and there. And before you know, this client left, that client left. What sustains you in any form of business is retaining your customers. Yes.
I love the fact that you started by unpacking and explaining to us the difference between traditional 9-to-5 and gig economy. You went as far as explaining the advantage and the disadvantage. I love that. But right now, the professional landscape is changing.
Yeah.
Enough of having teachers, enough of when I study English in the university, I'm going to become a teacher. Maybe as time goes by in my career path, I will be a lecturer, a part-time lecturer or this. Right now, there is role for virtual assistants.
Yes.
There are roles for tech, and in tech we have data analysis, we have code writing, we have different parts, which means there's no visible workspace, office place for that. And now, even in Lagos, now we have more of workspaces where people can come to work and then do what they know how to do and just leave, which means the professional landscape has changed. Sure. And according to what you do in your brand, in your company, you train people, HR skills, SME skills, this, that. Before, it used to be certificates. I studied English. I have a BSc in English. Drop it. Good. I mean, have you taught before in school? Oh, yes, 1 year period. But right now, what can you do? It's about skill set. Yeah. So I would like to go back to where you talked about, if you are fresh out of school, don't consider gig jobs. Consider proper, traditional 9-to-5. But don't you think the professional landscape is changing? And how is this change affecting or impacting our overall job market, the labor market, so to say?
Yes. The emphasis is changing. It can actually not be overemphasized. Yes, it is. The landscape is changing. The workspace, the business environment is changing, and it would continue to change. We won't doubt that because we are dynamic human beings. So things would, if we remain static, then we are not living, right? So things would change, no doubt. How would it affect? Now, most times I say this, nature will not change completely. There will be gradual changes, and each of the changes would differ based on business environment, culture, global issues. Now, let's be specific to Nigeria. I know we're in a global world, but I want to be specific here. It may not change so much as it's changing. It will not still change so much because we really need to have a lot of technological change to have that broad change we're looking at. How would it then affect the current? Why even did I say that for you to actually start gig, you need to learn into the market? I think that would help me to answer what you have just said. Now, most of the major reason is that even if it does not have to go to work every day, I would also have preferred that you, in a way, hybrid now, but you work with a specific organization, understand the work process and work ethics. That's where I am actually going. There has to be work process, there has to be work ethics, that you need to learn something. You know, employment is transactional. Yeah, so it is one benefit and one responsibility and one responsibility and one benefit, meaning the employer's benefit, it is the employee's responsibility. The employee's benefit is the employer's responsibility. You have something to give. Now, so when you get a job, initial job, and all you expect is to be trained, and you're trained and you're paid. Don't forget that business owners are also, they have emotions. Everything runs. The same way you have a mental issue as an employee. A business owner is having mental cases because they have to spend money. So it basically would affect the economy, and it's still affecting the economy. And then no matter how much we study what we study, what then matters to us is now, what can you do? What do you have ability to do? university first degree is like opening the door and getting into a place. People will always say that. A lot of people studied something, even medicine. The rest of medicine, when they are done, they will tell you, I don't want to do medicine. I want to go sing, right? Yes. So, yes, it will keep changing because people have to, be able to attend to what they want to do. Yes, passionate about. So if you decide to finish from school and you want to go sing, for you to get into entertainment, you may not have to be in a workspace or workplace. Right? You just get to a place 1 day or 2 days, and the next thing they tell you what to do. I have a friend, she studied, she's a barrister, but she does diction. She's not practicing law. So in her house, she teaches diction. I had a class yesterday with one of our clients, and that's what she does. She stays in her house. If you must invite her 2 hours, she's gone. She goes home. Sometimes in a day, she has 4 or 5 classes for 1 hour. 30 minutes, she makes money. So what am I trying to say? There are some roles, there are some professions that allows you from day one to actually win the space. But you need to know the space. Does she really need to converse with anybody to get too good with diction? Maybe not. She listens to YouTube, watches program, and then read books, and then listen to some conferences, and she's good to go. So what are those rules? Maybe that's another question. What set of jobs do you think would mandate you? You need to know that as well, that you must be in some physical space to work. Is there any rule like that? Maybe that's what we should be asking.
All right, I'd like us to take a short break. We still have a lot to uncover with this conversation with the traditional jobs and the gig economy. So we'll take a short break now. When we return, continue our conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back shortly. All right, welcome back, viewers. It's still Ray's Breakfast. Today is Friday, and we're discussing traditional 9 to 5 and the gig economy. Just to let you know that you can join in on this conversation. Our phone lines are open. You can reach us on 070250077749 or 0701-424-2420. I take it again, 070250077749 or 0701-424-2420. We'd like to hear your own input on the differences or the dynamics between traditional 9 to 5 and the gig economy. All right, taking on from where we stopped, God's Beauty has a question for.
Okay, so I mean, I've heard you say a whole lot of things, and they do make sense, and I say thank you. So now let's talk a bit about the common mistakes that both the gig economy and the traditional 9 to 5 make. So there's this friend of mine. Let me give this instance. There's a friend of mine that had a business with someone from, I think, Ghana or so, and they had this business, but it wasn't written in paper. So there was no legal document to it, right? Then after a year, he's a graphic designer. So after he's done a lot of graphics for this person, sent to him, without even putting watermark to it and all of those. So the person decides to now pay him what he decides to pay instead of the initial agreement, right? So I feel like this is a mistake, and there are a whole lot of mistakes as well, which I'd want you to expatiate on for us, because, I mean, it's one thing to say, oh, I have this, this skill, and I want to explore it. It's another thing to now know the process legally, and all of those things so that you don't fall victim. But same also happens to both us that work in the traditional 9 to 5. 9-to-5. I was speaking to a friend of mine about, I remember there's a time where, during the time I was teaching, right? And we had this good person that was, you know, like the person paying us. So the thing is, he wasn't, like, he didn't have enough money, income coming into the, you know, the school. Yeah, but he was still able to pay us the amount he was paying us. Then it got to a point where he could no longer pay us, right? There's nothing we could do than to either resign or probably still wait and see if he could pay us. Do you get what I'm saying? So in those contexts, I feel like there's, like I said, I feel like there are a lot of things, a lot of mistakes that are being made that both the gig economy and the traditional 9-to-5 don't get to, you know, see or know before, you know, going into it. There's just this happiness that, oh, I want to work and let's go into it. Then I've been asked that. I want to ask, what do you see, like, what's the future looking like right now, given the economic status of Nigeria for both the gig economy and the traditional 9-to-5?
Interesting. I mean, the last question is striking. Striking. Guess the future. So let's take the first one, right? Okay. The common mistakes. And I would start by saying that the nature of human has some builds of errors, right? So, but then we need to also understand that we should be careful. Sure. And the first mistake from the business owners, the way the business owners, especially the startups, especially them, the way they are hungry to start build their businesses, the same way someone who needs an extra job and extra money is hungry and willing to do something. So you're hungry, I want a graphic guy, I need to sell my business out there, digital marketing, and then you forget that you have some trade secret. Forget that. There are some things you need to put, that whatever the agreement, the contract agreement, whatever information you get while doing this job, you shouldn't give it out, right? Sometimes we don't even bother. And we just, okay, come, graphics, oh, digital content, and people come. Sometimes they don't even give any contracts, whatever. Nothing is written. Nothing is written. Yes. Now, it's an error, and a big one. And then sometimes some people get some jobs. I will tell you that people will call your office and ask, oh, are you so person, we want to do this contract with you. Do you mind send your proposal? They are not doing any business with you. Sometimes you just want to steal that idea. And the same way somebody could come apply for your job because they want to steal something from you, then even after what you want to pay them. That's the risk of the business owner. Then for the person who needs this job, that zeal that I want to, I have this company, this person is my client, that is my, just to mention so that you go tell someone else, I'm working with this person, put them all together. You're even not sure to collecting anything. And because you don't have contract, some people don't have integrity, I'm sorry to say. And they don't stand by their word. So I will pay you 50,000. By the end of, towards the end of the month, they will find reason what they didn't complain about when the errors, they will begin to complain. You didn't do this. I gave this, you did not do, just not to pay. Now, so because there's no contract, you don't even have, you may not have anything to say, possibly leave the money or walk away. But again, I would say sometimes it's sincerely that you don't have the money for startups. Is it that you wait or you resign? So one of the things we must avoid is that we must document our contracts, however small it is. Document contracts and ask questions. So we're expected to do a recruitment for an organization. During the offer, the offer before we give the offer letter, we did that offer back maybe like 4 times. The person will say, no, I read it again, I don't like this. I read it, this is not good enough for me. No, do you mind this but what does it mean? You know what came about that? Because she's got an experience to know that there are some things I wouldn't want, that I've been here, I don't want this again. But that's another thing with if you're just starting this job and you're getting into gig almost immediately. You don't have experience of what should be in your offer, what shouldn't be in, what does the but mean, what does if mean, because those things mean a lot in the offer. So the first error, you need to know what exactly each sentence is. And then the second one I would say that when you're getting an offer letter as a gig person, read the areas of your preference. That is interest. Now, your interest, first of all, on this job is time. Possibly if it's time, look at the timing. If that's your preference. If it's time, look at the timing. If you don't want to have cluster of job, look at the job description given to you. Again, some persons give offer letter without a job description. So it's not even stated what you want to do initially. So you don't even know the magnitude of the job you're coming to do. And then when you get into the job, somebody tells you, oh, this is what you to do. But this is not agreement. And so you don't want a job that takes your time. But in the mind of the employer, you wouldn't mind you work on a Sunday. You don't even want your Sunday involved. On a Sunday afternoon, somebody calls you. I sent you graphics. You've not delivered it. And you're like, what is this? It has not my agreement. But you don't have an agreement. You went for a job. So those are the little, risk here and there on that part.
I wanted to...
We haven't spoken about the future.
A lot of questions today.
Okay,
Let's
so
see how
now
we
the
can...
future. Yes, the future is bright. I read the statistics around. We are looking at, there was a statistic that said that by 2023, we have over 27% increase in gig economy. And then the traditional still remains about 62. I mean, because we are growing. I mean, see where the traditional is coming from and see what gig had caught up with. So you know that there's really future in gig economy.
Okay.
A lot future. But my worry, I would say, is that if we have to get to do gig, know the job. Know the job. Know what you're offering. Get to do that work well. Because if you do it well, then it makes the economy better. Productivity, profitability is what grew businesses. And when businesses are not growing, unemployment would actually be, in fact, everything will go wrong because the economy generally won't grow.
Sorry, I want to pick something from what you said the other time. You said contract.
Yes.
Ensure that you read in between the
Yes,
lines and
yes.
ensure that it's followed by both the employee and the employer.
Yes.
One thing I learned maybe on the street is that for a business to grow, you need to either cheat your employer. You have to, not need to, you have to cheat your employer, either by not paying them well or paying them moderately well, but overusing them. Now, in a contract that states that 9 to 5, but when you start the job, they notice that, you can also just do 8 to 9. Let's just extend it. And you are like, okay, it's not in my contract that it's 9 to 5. It's 8 to 9. It's, from 9 to 9, like that. And they're not trying to tell you that, but you're around now, but you can do this and you can do that. You're supposed to, reach out back to the HR or to the CEO and say, okay, this is not in my contract, but this is what I want. There's this, I don't know if I'm using the right word, or maybe the right word will come out. There's this, guilt tripping that comes from the CEO. They know how to play their game. I understand that it's not as if the employee is stupid or dumb. Maybe at the moment she doesn't have a better offer. She's just dead. Okay, I cannot stay here for more than this particular time.
Yeah.
Why do CEOs which is one major reason, one major problem I personally have with 9 to 5. I feel like most 9 to 5 companies are also not flexible. I understand that we human beings, if you give us a hand, we extend it to a handpit. I know that we are like that. If you give us a 1 day off, we want to take 2 days off on some days. But I feel like traditional 9 to 5s are not flexible and they don't stick to their contract. So I feel like gig economy oftentimes sticks to their contract. So with your line of experience and with things you've employed for companies and you employ for your own company, how does this play out? Is it done on purpose? Is it an intentional doing? Okay, I need to play your integrity if I need it to work for me.
Okay. Now, I'll start the part you talked about, the not flexible. There was some time last year, early this year, when there was this increase in petrol and the transportation was quite high. Yes. A lot of companies, like I said, we work for SMEs, we work for other organizations, called us, we work for them as their consultant, HR and all that, and some other things. They called in and please plan hybrid for us. We did for a couple of our clients. And a few times we're called back, please cancel this thing. Because some of them didn't have the actual metrics to measure performance while the employees were at home, working from home. Yes. Those that had couldn't control the issues the employees had at home. Issues of, no petrol, my phone is down. Electricity is not. Internet Wi-Fi is bad. Yes. I can't work. And then, how long? Like I said, it's benefits, responsibilities, benefit. And it's a contract. So when that happens, you see, I'm not excusing those that are employers that are intentionally this way. I'm talking about those with good intents and what you get. So most times you don't get what you want. And sometimes you get what you never desired for, that's life. But sometimes you see these employers who have good intent, and they're saying, go work from home. And then excuses. I also don't blame the employees. It may not be their fault, truly. Possibly no light, no internet. You may live in a place where you get into the house, you won't see nothing. You have to step out for you to even access internet. And I know that, it happens. But do you think, I don't know if I need to say Bible, would you remain in sin because grace abounds? Would you then say because, oh yeah, let me excuse that we are in Nigeria, okay. That means I'll have to cut your salary. And say, okay, for the days you don't work, you want to take high break, just take it as you're working from home. You're not working that day, don't worry. So we'll pay you for 3 days you have worked. Would you want that agreement? Another thing. So one of the challenges we have is beyond even the employers. We have some sort of economic culture, business environment challenge, which as a result of where we are
right now.
So that is for that excuse. And for another excuse of people who are intentionally the other way. They have it all, they can do better, but they say, oh, I'm paying you my money, so your neck must be on this. You can't escape it. You're here, I'm here, you've not gone. I see some employees that you're going home when your CEO is around.
Excuse me, it's 5.
Exactly.
No. Some won't see MDs in your living. Until the MD leaves, you won't leave. Some people are like that. I know where she's coming from. I see that picture a lot of times. So those ones are there. We know them. And so it takes you. One of the things that happen around employment, and you say, okay, there is high turnover or retention of employees. Employee stays based on one major thing. No matter what you do, job description, job satisfaction is in employees' intention. That is the major thing that keep employees. Every other thing is applause. Otherwise, some persons will leave companies like oil companies and want to jump, isn't it? Because what are you looking for? So the intent now comes from what do I want in life? What are my perspectives? What do I want to get into? What I intend to do, right? Your intent. So for those very funny employers, it depends on what does employee want. Can I stay? Would I go? But I want to shock you with something.
Shock me.
Do you know that employees most times don't stay with very good employers? Those nice bosses, they take them for granted. You see those ones that will squeeze, everything. Whether it's fear, I don't know what it is, they will stay. So why so, if I may ask?
That's quite interesting.
Not to defend them, but I feel like we human beings normal, like I mentioned earlier, when you give us a hand, we oftentimes extend it to a handpiece, right? But I feel like we are human beings, we are all not perfect. If we should switch tables over, it might probably still happen, right? But I feel like there should be a limit, there should be a consensus to it. I cannot be rigid every day. I cannot be flexible every day. There are some days I'm rigid. There are some days I'm flexible. And on some days as an employee, there are some days I'm overly productive. I'm happy, I'm jumping, and there's some days that, oh God, I want to resign like ASAP.
Yes.
Let's listen to her.
Finally, I can talk. Thank you. All right, I want to take us back a bit because there was a striking statement you made that has been ringing in my head even as we're asking our different questions. You said for someone just coming out of the university, it's perfect if they start out with a traditional 9 to 5. That statement you made, Ma. Let's see it from the kind of country that we're living in and the economic implications to that statement. Because a traditional 9 to 5 has a lot of clauses to it. Because of the certification involved, the years of experiences that are needed, and gig economy seems to be that exit from all those tough and rigid expectations that are required. Because with gig economy, you take up one course online, 2-3 weeks, 6 weeks, you just learn something, you can find one client on Upwork or Fiverr, you start building experiences and get multiple jobs. Do you get it? So I'm not restrained by the overly bearing burden that comes with the traditional 9 to 5. And yet I also want to scale my career and, become much more stable. So I want to ask, do you really think that this advice that you gave can be very feasible in this kind of economic condition that we're in, especially when work conditions, traditional 9 to 5s are just the lot of clauses to it. There's ageism to it. There's years of experiences that are expected. And then gig economy came like a saving grace. But you're still saying you should still consider traditional 9 to 5.
Yes, so I would still say that. And I'll take it from the background of the NYSC. If they didn't think you needed a work experience, maybe there are other reasons why NYC came about. And they said, oh, you need to know your country, you need to know your culture, you need to understand, one of the courses I teach in the university, by the way, I lecture in the university as well. One of the courses I teach in the university is Nigerian peoples and culture. Okay. So when I teach my students, I tell them, if you don't want to learn it, don't worry, NYC will teach you. It's always my gist in the class. NYC will teach you. They will take it.
NYC that people are also dropping, by the way, and not so interested in.
I'm coming there. I know the reasons they are dropping are also obvious. So, of course, I'm camera, so there's something. Now, so there are various factors. The philosophers would say that it is the rationalism of the things about life that makes what life is. Meaning, you see from a lens, I see from a lens. We all see from lenses, right? And then if we come to say, okay, there's a plate of compromise, and we put all our thoughts in the plate, and we begin to dish what portion do we have, it makes a lot of sense to us. So there's nothing absolutely what this way and absolutely that way. For everything that has advantage has a disadvantage. Now, why did I make that statement? Like I started by saying NYC. We'll come back to why some people are dropping NYC. Some may be social cases, some could be other ones. There's need for us to understand work ethics. I will say that again and over. Now, so you talked about gig. There are some persons I want to recruit, even if you have worked in the gig industry or been there for 10 years. I won't take you for that role. I won't take you for the role. Because there's something I'm looking for. Leadership is not a facility. You lead people. And that's what you call human resources. So without the resource, which is the competence, the skills, the capacity, and all that, you're just a human by the side. It is the resource that makes the human resources, right? So how you want to grow, where do you see yourself in future? Where exactly are you pursuing as a career determines how you want to work. I don't have a problem with the gig. Really, I don't. But I'm just saying, for this growth you want to have in some profession, you just need to find a way to come in between. Make it, you can even just borrow the hybrid instead of going gig all through. I know the hybrid is within the gig.
Yes.
Make it the hybrid one.
Instead of just solely gig.
Yes, make it a hybrid. Do you get it? So you need to understand, what career do I want to grow? That determines. I like trends, but I'm a bit deviant.
Careful.
Yes, I'm a bit here and there. I pick preferences to what growth is all about, right? So I rather do the hybrid. So I'm starting up. I'm saying, okay, for some reasons, and it favors some professions. I will tell you, those of you in mass comm, in media, it's beautiful. In IT, you can do it. If you come into the HR world and you're telling me that you've been HR virtual for 10 years, I won't recruit you as HR assistant. I won't. Yes, because right here in the office, we go through, even those that have been HR for 3 years from admin, when they come for an internship program, we know what we do. When they come for graduate training, we know what we do. We start from requisition forms and HR. We need to tell you how to design it. Because some of those things, you don't do it. Now, there's what we call psychological appraisal. You don't do psychological appraisal by interacting with internet only. Psychological appraisal has to give you metrics and variables that you can dictate somebody's social life, interpersonal skills, judgment skills. Do you understand? How would I judge you when I have not seen you in various situations?
This is quite, we can't take any more questions, even though this is birthing so many questions. I think we need to have another conversation on work-life culture and this again. We'll probably have you again on our show.
Anytime.
Thank you very much for your time.
Yes,
thank you, ladies. Thank you to our audiences and everyone who has joined in on this conversation. This is where we draw the curtains. Until next week, this is Today's Breakfast. See you 8 a.m. on Monday. Bye.
Hey guys, it's Oluchi for Ways Breakfast. Thanks for always tuning in. Our research has shown that you're probably not subscribed to our channel. What are you waiting for? Make sure you hit that subscribe button below so you never miss out on our latest content and stay in the loop with all things Ways. If the channel grows, it means more great content for you guys. So hit that subscribe button now.